Gerbig. Okay. Just like it sounds. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. All right. And go. Hi, this is Dr. Victoria Andarcia with the Healthful Roots podcast. Today I have Gail Gerbig from Seaside Mental Health Wellness, and we are going to be talking about mental health, which is an important topic that I think we are kind of lacking and everybody needs. So I'm really excited to have you here, and even more so on your birthday.
Oh my
So
gosh.
thank
Well,
you for
thank you
joining
so
us
much for the
today.
invitation. I'm really glad that we were able to connect and sync up our schedules so that we could do this today.
Yes, me too. So we'll get right into it. And my first question is, what led you to become a therapist and eventually launch your own private
Oh my
practice?
gosh. Well, that's a loaded question. I have had, well, I'm actually just starting my 27th year in the field. So almost 30 years experience in medical and mental health settings. And, something that I've noticed
Wow.
over the years in the different roles that I have had is there's a lot of time constraints. And so, as a social worker, as a clinical liaison, I'm meeting with patients and providing that support. But I had other things that I had to take care of at the same time. And so I had to, kind of put some time constraints there. And so ended up deciding to go into private practice. And I was in a local group practice, and it was amazing. Probably one of the best things that I could have done. And I was so honored to be with friends. And then I ended up transitioning to Seaside in 2023, just because it really fit my family life to be at home, doing everything virtually. And my husband and I took on a much more time consuming role with helping raise our grandson. And so it just made sense for me to be more at home and readily available for the family. And so then, as time has gone on, I have not only become the therapist of Seaside, but actually 1 year ago this month, in August of 2024, I became the owner as well. So it's really been very much a journey for me as well as for my clients. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And
Huge
congratulations on
step.
becoming the
Huge
owner.
step.
That's a big step. Yeah. And so yeah, from our previous
I do.
conversations, um, you work mostly with women. So can you tell me
Well,
the kind of
absolutely.
women that you work with
So
at
a lot
Seaside?
of the women that I end up seeing and have found me, and I'm so thankful that they have, they are very much your high achieving, deeply caring women, usually between the ages of 30 and 75. A lot of my experience in the medical settings have led, quite a bit of folks to find me that are older in age, and I can be able to provide that emotional support to them during that transition. But I'm starting to focus a lot more on kind of that midlife age, because there are so many things that we are juggling, so many hats that we wear. And then you've got this invisible change that is happening within us in midlife.
Yes. Yes. And
Very.
that can be really challenging for some women. One of the things that I see a lot in my clinic
Mhm.
is, emotional burnout. So
Oh
what
my
does that
gosh.
look like
Well,
in the women that you
a lot of the
support?
folks that I am seeing, they're very much go, go, go. They don't stop. They don't know how to rest, to relax. And even when they do, they're multitasking. And so it very much comes to a point where they feel like they're running on empty, and they're juggling all these different things, and they have to do all these things for so many other
Hmm.
folks or different roles that they're a part of. But then they really don't get that opportunity to slow down and breathe and reflect and take care of themselves. So they start losing the enjoyment in the everyday. And even the smallest things can feel so overwhelming. So that's why a lot of my folks end up coming to Seaside. Oh, sorry, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes. I have, I was going to say that I definitely feel like I've been there before. It's really hard to get out of that when your nervous system is so used to the go, go, go that I think slowing down can also feel uncomfortable because it's like, why am I sitting down and
Yes,
taking a
very
break
much.
when I have
And
so many things to do?
I think we all feel that, right? Because there are, in particular for you and I, we're business owners, we have all these different hats that we are wearing as well. And I'm going to squirrel just for a hot minute. I've been sharing, with my clients, how I too am juggling multiple hats, in terms of, not only being their therapist and being in tune to them 100% of the time that we're together, but then behind the scenes, we all know we have to do notes, right? We have to run our business. We have to do the administrative tasks. We have to do the social media. We have to be, tweaking our website and doing blogs and reaching out to folks and, all the things that it is to not only do what we do and the role that we love, but then also all the things we need to do to keep it going. And so yeah, it's really hard to slow down and it can
Exactly.
feel uncomfortable. But when you do create that space to pause and reflect, and sometimes just focusing on your breath, it's really amazing what you can actually accomplish. It's not a failure to slow down. It's actually a positive thing. And what a lot of women, myself included, have found out, because, we're all guilty of it, is that
Yeah.
when you do slow down, you can actually think that much clearer, feel that much better, respond to things in the way that you truly want to
Yes.
respond versus that emotional response and doing things, excuse my language, half-assed. Um, so that if you are able to accomplish things more productively
Yeah.
and more authentically, you will start to feel even closer to 100% than you would if you just take care of all the things right then and there.
I agree. I think that was very well said, because it definitely is the truth, right? The more that you practice that, the
Mhm.
easier it becomes and the more efficient you become. So even though in that moment it might seem inefficient, it's really not. Yes. And I have a question about that. Is there anything else that you recommend to women, to prevent getting to that burnout stage? Like, what would you say to someone who's already been there, is on the mend,
Mhm.
but you see a
Yeah,
path
I
towards
think the
burnout again?
important thing is check-ins. We all need a support system. And, even myself, I know that, for me, I've been diving into, I have this amazing woman that I have found that does marketing guide and helps market businesses like ours. And I've been taking a whole bunch of her stuff and tweaking my website and redoing all the things. And it took my husband to say, take a break. It looks beautiful as it is. Let it be. Let it sit for a moment. Let's go take a walk. Let's get you some fresh air. Let's have some time together. And, I use him as an example for me, but it's very important for women, that we have almost like a care team, right? Have those check-ins in place. Have those friends and family members that you're checking in with and they're checking in with you. And also, one of the things that I encourage my clients to have is also a self-care routine, so that it's not just one thing. It's not just talk therapy. Let's also focus on your physical well-being. That's where amazing folks like yourself come in, right? Let's create a schedule
Hmm.
where you are planning for self-care. So whether that's yoga or Pilates or, all the facials and the mani-pedis, however you want it to look, but creating that routine so that even in all the chaos of the everyday, you've got those small little moments that you can check in with yourself.
I love that idea
Right.
of planning
It's an
for it, because if you
ideal.
don't
It's
plan for
something
it, it doesn't
that you
get
think
done.
about and you're like, oh, that would be amazing. I would love to do that. You got to plan for it. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client this morning who was noticing some physical symptoms, and could potentially have been related, to perimenopause, menopause, or it could be something else. And so she and I just kind of looked at each other, and I actually wanted her to wrap up her session a little early so that she could call and make an appointment about it. And she also wanted to do that too. And I think she felt that. And she's like, would you be okay? She's like, I think I need to wrap up a little bit early and make this call before I start my meetings for the day. And I'm like, absolutely. Let's do this. Let's make this a priority. I'll see you later. And go ahead and make that call, schedule that appointment so that you can kind of take that off of your list. You're addressing it, you're going to follow up, and then now you can start all your conference calls and your meetings for the day. Check, check, check.
Perfect. Yeah, I like that. Um, Talking about your sessions, what can someone expect in a typical therapy session with you?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Victoria. I lost you for a second. I didn't get the question.
No, it's
Oh, okay,
okay.
there
I
it
was
is.
gonna,
It
so my
says it's
question
trying
was,
to reach you
what can
again.
someone expect in a typical therapy session with you?
Oh, I'm gonna have you repeat that one more time. I'm so sorry. It's still trying to reconnect me.
Okay. Okay. All right. What can someone expect in a typical therapy session with you?
Oh, I love that. Seaside, the way that I have designed Seaside is I want it to be a calm and supportive space for women to come into. And so, kind of like what we were talking about before with, people taking that opportunity to slow down, to breathe, and this gives them that opportunity to do so and to be able to reflect. And one of the things that I hear a lot of my clients say is that, as soon as they, sign in to the platform and we start our session, they're able to just let everything go. They can talk about all the things, we can process what's going on in their life. We can give them different ideas on how to approach a situation, or, what sorts of steps they can take in order to move forward, with their life and make good decisions. Kind of like that client that I was telling you about from earlier today. She and I both knew that she was going to need to call her doctor and probably have this checked out. And most likely the way that it would end up going. But she took that initiative to say, like, okay, I'm in a good spot right now. And I knew she was in a good spot. She's like, can we wrap up a little early and I'll call the doctor? Yes, please. Check. That was your step. So it is giving them that opportunity to just think about
Mhm.
things, help to make good decisions about their life going forward, and also give them that space to just address what's going on currently, as well as what sorts of goals they want to work towards in the future. And it's very sweet because some of my clients, they'll have like a pen and paper with them on the couch, or if they're at their desk or what have you. And we'll be talking about something, and I'll just kind of throw something out there during our time, and they'll have those aha moments, which is really lovely to be a
Yes.
part of, that they are having those moments where they connect the dots and they figure out, oh, I've got this. Now I know my plan. Now I know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to respond, and how I'm going to be even a better version of myself than I already am. And so one of my clients in particular coined this as a golden nugget.
I like that.
And so I love it. It's such a great feeling to be on this journey with them and to be able to see that. And, most recently, I've opened up some additional hours during the week in order to invite more women to come into Seaside. And people are finding me, which is really exciting. And I've had so many women just in this last week that I've met with, brand new, and they come in, and you can see the
Hmm.
stress. It's all over their face. It's in the way that they present with their posture. And I can't see the full picture of them because, we're not in person, we're online, but, they end up becoming tearful, and I can see that this is a release for them. They don't have to hold everything together, just them anymore. They've got someone that they can rely on. And I had a couple of clients this week say, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter already." And we've just had one session, and I'm like, this is monumental. This is what we as women need. Is we need that care team. We need that support. And sometimes just being seen and heard and supported is enough to get us through that moment and help us to continue to move forward in our day.
I love that. And I also want to mention that I see that too on my side, right? I'll have women who come to me and they're tearful and they're,
I
yeah.
bet you
And
do.
I think that a lot of times, women are being told that it's like they're depressed or anxious, and they might be, but there might be a hormonal component to it as well, right? Especially in that perimenopause phase that you and I are, familiar with. And so I just want
Absolutely.
to ask you on that, since you're working with a lot of perimenopause, menopause women, what are the emotional changes that you notice?
Mhm. Oh, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. Well, and you know what? There's such a link, no matter what stage in life you're in, between your emotional and your physical well-being. And you've hit the nose on the head of, you know, when you're in perimenopause or you're in menopause, everything physically is going through this loop. It's not stable, it's
Yeah.
up, it's down, it's all around. And so it does create all of this anxiety, this sadness, this irritability, this level of frustration, not being able to enjoy the things that you were able to enjoy, questioning, things about, who am I, and what do I want, and what feels good for me. And so, anybody that comes through Seaside, immediately one of the first things that I am asking them is, okay, do you have a primary care physician? When was the last time you had blood work? Where are you at in this cycle, so that we know what is going on physically so that we can address the emotional impact that all of this is having on
Yeah,
you.
and I've been doing a lot of research lately because I'm going to be part of a panel next week, and it's come up multiple times on how thanks,
Oh,
but
congratulations.
that in perimenopause, before menopause, that's when women are at the highest risk of suicide, and in menopause, you see the highest rates of divorce, which I think it's shocking and not something that a lot of people know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very interesting. With the platform that I use for my therapy sessions, I'm on what's called Grow Therapy, which is phenomenal. It's up and coming, and they take care of the insurances and submitting the invoices. So as as a solo practitioner, that's great. Thank you. But one of the things that I'm able to complete in that platform is actually the
Mm,
PHQ and the GAD, which the PHQ focuses on signs and symptoms of depression, and the GAD actually focuses
yeah,
on signs and symptoms of anxiety. So even before someone is entering their first therapy session with me, that gives me so much information in terms of emotionally where they're at, what level of depression and anxiety they've already been experiencing, what sort of physical symptoms they've also started to kind of take note of so that we can address those as well. And then also what sort of support we can put into place to minimize it getting to that point where you feel like
yeah,
you have no other choice but suicide
right.
or divorce.
And I think that is really important. And I work in a hospital part-time, and I just want to bring this up because it shocked me last week when I was there, is we had a lot of you know, psych patients come in, whether it was, substance abuse or suicide attempt, and talking to the psychiatrist on staff, and they said, we have a lot of these patients and not enough support. And I was just like, oh, that's heartbreaking to see because mental health
Mhm.
is something that we're all struggling with. Like, either there's a spectrum, right? And I think everyone needs to have,
Yes,
right, like support,
right, very
and the
much.
support might look different for different people, but just this idea that like people
Mhm.
struggle to get the support they need when they need it. And that's why I wanted to talk to you because I love, what you're doing, and especially for the population that I work with.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you reached out. I mean, I have been following your journey through the gram, of course, because
Yeah.
that's where we all find each other, right? And I think what you do is amazing. And it is people like you that actually had me thinking. Of course, in addition to my clients that I've been seeing, kind of gave me this idea of I really need to have a micro niche as well, not just focus on women, but also that micro niche of, perimenopause and menopause. And, because it does have an impact on everyone, at some point in everyone's life, we are all
Yes.
going to go through this. We are. And how do we make the best decisions for us? And so it is amazing to find folks like you, and I'm so honored that you agree to be part of my preferred provider
Yes.
guide to my clients so that my clients can find you as well. I just and anyone that I come across, personally or professionally, I like to give people options of places to go and things to consider. So, side note, I am actually a daughter of an engineer. My dad retired from Tropicana orange juice, so that makes me a Tropicana kid. And being a daughter of an engineer, one of the things that I have always learned from him, and I incorporate actually into my therapy practice, is I want to make sure that I am giving my clients multiple options. So I'm always going to give you three, at least three. So that way you can identify, your top option, your backup option, and then your backup to your backup. And so that's how I actually started thinking about the preferred provider guide, because so many of my clients are struggling to find good people. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I know good people.
Yeah.
you know, Let me give you a starting point on how to look for some of these folks. And these are the people that really stand out to me as providing compassionate care. And Victoria, you were at the top
Well,
of my
thank
list.
you. That means a lot.
So to be asked by you to be a part of this is
Yes, no,
such
I
an
love
honor.
that. And I also been following you for a long time, so I'm so happy that you're growing. I love to see that. I do want to ask you another question just because
Well,
I think it's important for
thank
anybody
you.
listening. You hold space for a lot of people, right? And I think it's important. Like we're human too. We have our things, but we have to create rituals to kind of ground ourselves. So how do you do that for yourself?
Oh, that is such a great question. You know, for us as therapists, we are trained, just like you as a physician, emotionally, we can't absorb all of that stuff, right? And over the course of time and experience, like I talked about, 27 years in the field, almost, reaching up to that third decade, you learn how to emotionally not absorb all the things, but physically, um, sometimes you don't learn how to do that. And over the course of the day, over the course of the week, it can take a toll on you. And I definitely feel that, and I've shared that with my clients too. And so, it is putting things into place in my daily routine, so that I do have an extended lunch break. I do. The whole point of me doing online sessions is that I get to hang out with my cats all day long.
Yeah.
So So they'll hop up. I'm surprised one of them didn't hop up here now, because Milkshake was actually just here before we started. And I'm like, she's going to be a part of this. She's going to be Instagram famous. Um, and so it is spending time, with my loved ones. My husband, he is amazing. We love to play pickleball. So on weekends, you're going to find us doing that. Definitely trying to do more of the walks in nature. Um, Sunsets at the beach have become really monumental for us. We love to just drive out to Siesta. We're like 15 minutes away and just watch the sunset. And it is such a calming
Mhm.
experience. Something that I don't think a lot of us here in Florida take advantage of. We live here,
Yeah,
we live in paradise,
I
but we
agree with
forget that
that.
we do. So that's another thing, and then of course, one of my kind of like side projects is photography. There's actually a very beautiful photographer in town. Her name is Melissa Torini. I know I'm mispronouncing her last name, but that's how I say it. And she took me underneath her wing after we met a couple years ago, and she had shared with me that she felt I had the eye, and so I have actually followed her on photo shoots. We've done some, photo shoots where I've done like behind the scenes type stuff. And of course, being a content creator locally in town, a lot of local businesses will invite me to come in, or restaurants to go and sample their food and take photos and hype them up. And so I have very much embraced that, not only as Seaside, but also just as me, where I want to be that person that not only my clients come to for resources, but also those in the
I
community
like
can
that.
come
That's
to
really
as well.
cool. Yeah. Um, as we wrap
Thanks.
up, I do think there's an important question that we need to answer for everyone. So, if someone's feeling unsure about whether their struggles are big enough for therapy, what would you tell them?
I get this a lot. Um, I feel like if you're even considering it,
Mhm.
do it. You don't have to have a catastrophic event in order to say, okay, I need therapy. If you are feeling off, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like the everyday things are just becoming heavy, come in, schedule an appointment, let's talk. And what I love about what you do and what I do is that we are just humans coming together and we're having a conversation. And I'll have my coffee, I'll have my smoothie, I'll have one of my cats pop
Yeah.
up on the desk. Some of my clients have their puppy loves with them. It's merely two women coming together to have a conversation, and I get the honor of supporting you on your journey and maybe giving you some practical tools that you can use in your everyday
Yes.
life.
And for those women that are now considering therapy, how can they find you?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy. You can find me on social media, which is Seaside Mental Wellness. Otherwise, you can actually go to my website, which is seasidementalwellness.com. And you're going to find a whole bunch of information, not only about me and my credentialing, but also some information about what your first therapy session is going to be like, how to be ready for therapy, the kind of the secret components of emotional burnout and anxiety, and definitely going to be working a little bit more on my blog now that my website is up and running and beautified. So there's definitely going to be a lot more information about perimenopause and menopause, and the emotional and the physical components, and also some recommendations for, of course, local folks like yourself. So that if they are looking for those resources, even if they are not a client of Seaside and have the preferred provider guide, they can still get
That's
to
great.
you.
Well, thank you. I'll make sure to include that in the show notes. Again, thank you for joining us on your birthday. I loved our conversation. Yes, and
Oh my gosh, of course.
I hope that we get to have
Me
another
too.
one soon.
Same. Have a good weekend, Victoria.